And there is a turn in the investigation. Investigators would like to know if you've had any interaction on any social media sites with Anthony Schatz. Explain that, Kelsi, if you will.
So there was an account, it was active from 2016 and 2017, Anthony_Schatz on Instagram as well as other social media platforms. And they're just asking that anybody that's ever communicated with this account come forward and talk to them.
And one of the people connected to that site is Kagan Klein, and our producer Barbara has spoken to him. Let's hear that, and then we'll come back out and chat about it.
I feel like I'm being harassed completely.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
So Anthony Schatz, that person has been cleared and feels terrible about what had happened. His images were used for that. Mike, you've been down this road, meaning where investigators may be looking into someone, and you have told me you don't want to get your hopes up when it comes to believing, hey, this could be it.
Yeah, you can't let your emotions run up and down this roller coaster ride. Obviously, every time the police investigate something just like this Anthony Schatz account, I mean, this is a great opportunity for the public, and that's what we're here for, is to communicate this out and ask for help. And that's what the police asked for, was anything specific to that account, anybody that had interaction with that. So this is the same thing. I mean, we always have hope, right, every day that this is going to come to fruition. But again, we're reserved. I'm really waiting on the call from law enforcement, because those are the people that's going to make the arrest for us. But it's all folks like yourselves, and every time Susan or Barbara or anybody does something for us, it's just a method to get the message out there, because somebody out there knows something. And if you've had any interaction with that Anthony Schatz account, or like my wife said, if you think about the girls back that were in the 16, 17 time frame, if they were 12 to 15, 16 years old, those are young women today. Well, go back and maybe look at some of the older iPhones or iPads, or ask them today, hey, did you have any interaction with that account? And really think about that. And Libby always asks for a minute. Well, give her a minute. I mean, a minute's not that much time to really talk about this and go through it. And if you have something that may have reached out to that account, please come forward with that information. The police are needing that information.
And for those who aren't familiar with what happened, I'm assuming that everybody does. It was a Monday afternoon. The girls, Abby and Libby, had the day off from school. It was a makeup snow day. It was unseasonably warm. And they asked Kelsi, Libby did, if they could have a ride to the trails. And Kelsi said yes, dropped them off. And that was the last time she saw them. The next day, their bodies were found. And this family has never been the same. And Paul Holes, as most of you know, retired investigator, he has seen a lot and knows just what this can do to an entire family. And Paul is here to discuss just the heartache that everyone goes through, considering if they live through something happening to a loved one.
Well, no, that's absolutely correct. And this is where, law enforcement has an obligation to do everything they possibly can to get the family an answer. It doesn't bring the loved ones back, right? But it most certainly is something that we need to get an answer, and then there's the public safety component. The type of crime that this individual did is something that may be repeated. And this individual is a dangerous man, and he needs to be taken off the streets, and he needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
And you understand it more than most. A mind that would do something like this is capable of it. You say they're able to stop this type of behavior for a chunk of time.
Absolutely. And that's what, I've personally seen with various individuals that I've looked at for my cases is, there are individuals that are more regular in terms of the crimes that they commit. They're periodic. Then there are individuals that will do crimes in clusters. And, this goes to personality types. This goes to what's going on in their lives. Is there a certain type of stress that they're experiencing, a loss of a job, a divorce, and then they strike out at innocent individuals as a result of that.
You talk openly in your book about being so dedicated to this, to the victims and to their families, but at a cost with your own personal life. And by no means are you saying this is easy.
No, well, it's not easy. You know, these are horrific crimes, and you know, everybody working this case, you know, what they have been subjected to as the professional side is of course going to be taking its toll as they continue to try to solve this case. You know, but it doesn't compare to what the family has gone through, and that's really what the important part of this is, and it's really to try to keep, you know, law enforcement on the right track to make sure that they get the answer. And again, it's not going to bring the loved ones back.
And you say that an investigator is wrong until they're right. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, when you have an unsolved case, you know, there's all sorts of investigative leads that come in, either from witnesses, various tips, even physical evidence. And as you march down those investigative leads, you develop individuals that you think are potentially responsible. And sometimes you end up thinking, well, I've got the right guy here, only to have something like a DNA elimination occur. But part of the complexity is that we are so reliant on circumstantial evidence, and you have to be. I mean, that's just part of us as humans, is trying to evaluate the world and the case. And sometimes you can be blind to the evidence and the circumstantial evidence. You think, oh, I've got this bit of information and it adds up. This is the guy. But then there's other aspects that don't seem to add up as much, but you have a tendency to ignore that. And I've done that.
Because the desire is to want to catch the bad guy, and you eliminate what doesn't fit with your theory, and you bring in what does.
It's bias.
And you say for 2 years you had the wrong guy with the Golden State Killer. You thought, this is him, I know I have him.
Yes.
And then you didn't.
That's just it, and that's where in that particular case, I kind of chose the details within the case file that matched this guy, and there was details that didn't, and I said, well, I can excuse that. I can make it, come up with a reason why that doesn't work. And then ultimately, the DNA evidence showed I was wrong. And that's when, I stepped back and I reassessed, and there's a great article out there by Dr. Rossmo called Criminal Investigative Failures. And this is a trap that all investigators can fall into. And it's really, you make the failure by picking a suspect and trying to make the evidence fit. And what you need to do is have the evidence and see if the suspect fits the evidence. So that's something that I learned the hard way.
And Becky, it reminded me a little bit of how you post every day, even a couple hours ago, that today is the day. Meaning an investigator's wrong until he's right. Today is the day, eventually it will be the day. Has that been inspiring to other people? It's inspiring to me.
Well, every day, it's the hope every day. You get up and you think, that's how we have to look at it every day. Today could be the day. So I post that out there as a reminder that it's coming, and maybe today's the day.